Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95 The Savior, and this will be a Ren's Japanese journal. If you're new to my channel, to explain this, I talk to you about things that happen in my personal life. I rant to you, talk about things that I think, that I feel. I'm not asking you for your opinion. This is not for your input. These are my own personal thoughts. This is solely for entertainment purposes and a therapeutic way for me to get things off of my chest that I think about things that I experienced. I say things that I probably wouldn't actually say to a person, but I'm thinking in my mind. I'm talking to you as though you are my friends, my family. I'm literally speaking to you in a video format, the same way that I would write inside of a journal. Just like how when you're writing in a journal, you don't normally write about things that are wonderful and happy and loving. You talk about things that make you sad, that make you angry. You talk about things you wish you could have done, etc. Now, I will be honest, for the purpose of this video, it will be more on the ranting end, but just explaining how this content goes. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting me on Patreon for $5 per month. The link for my Patreon is in the description box down below. So is the rest of my social media and whatnot. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video, leave a comment. So, anyway, sorry. My mouth is like super dry. I've been eating those like kimochi donuts, you guys, and I'm like really sad. Like, sorry for all the crinkly noise because I'm messing with this wrapper. They changed the donuts. Like, they don't sell, like, I don't even know what they were called anymore. But, like, now they've been replaced by these King Donut things. And they don't taste the same. But, like, it's been so long since I've had the real kimochi donuts that I forgot what the real ones taste like. But these taste very similar. Because I used to get mad because when they run out of the good donuts, they would have these King Donut thingies. And this is what's bogus. Shrinkflation has hit Japan, you guys. These packs of donuts used to come in cases. It was the kimochi donuts, but it would come in a case of 9. There's only 6 donuts in here. They literally fucking took out 3 donuts and they're charging you the same price, which sucks. I'm pretty sure it was 9. It was either 9 or 7 of them, which was also a weird number. Like, why would you make a pack of donuts an odd number? But that's Japan for you. Anyway, speaking of which, nothing like pissed me off that I didn't know before coming to Japan. Maybe this is just an American thing. I did not know that like a loaf of bread is apparently an American thing, or at least not an Asian thing. Bread here, like the biggest thing of bread you can buy is I think like 10 slices. Bread normally, like standard thing of bread, is anywhere from like 4 to 5 slices. You can sometimes find like a half loaf of like 6, but like the more slices of bread the thing has, normally the lower the quality of bread. And so of course you could buy like freshly made bread at a bakery, which also sucks because again, I think it's a matter of not having so many chemicals, but pretty much everything expires quickly in Japan. Like milk goes bad quickly, eggs go bad quickly, bread quickly, and I get it, that shows how many preservatives and crap we have in American food, but when you're broke, it's a struggle. Because then you wish that your milk and your eggs and your bread actually like lasted for a decent amount of time. Now, thank God my husband is a doctor. I don't have to worry about these things. But just like even then, like I hate wasting food. And then it also sucks because like it forces you to go to the store every day. But then you also recognize if I could buy multiple of some things or buy a bigger, loaf of bread or, get 2 things of eggs, I can actually save money instead of going back to the store each and every day. Sometimes you have coupons you can use. Sometimes there's a sale going on, but you can't take advantage of it. Because if you decide to be greedy and get 2 or 3 of these things, like how you normally would in the US, 1, you're not going to have space inside your refrigerator. 2, if you do buy a big refrigerator, which we are going to need to do, it's going to expire because it's going to go bad before you can use it. And some things cannot be frozen. For example, I cannot freeze eggs. I mean, sure, I could boil them or some shouldn't freeze it, but who wants to eat that? You get what I'm trying to say. So anyway, off of that, I just bit my tongue. Where was I? Sorry my voice is hoarse. I've been like keeping the heat on. I just turned it off before this video started because it is so cold recently. Like the weather cannot make up its mind on what it wants to do. But let me get on topic of this journal. So, I actually told you guys earlier today when I made my other video that I wanted to carry on this conversation. This is something that I saw actually on Facebook. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Look, I'm gonna keep it real. I actually laughed. It was a video titled like why I don't. It wasn't just, I don't know if it was why I don't or why you shouldn't date single moms. Now, FYI, before people start coming for me, I am a married woman. I'm married. I was married prior to having a baby. Don't go there with me. Now that I have that out of the way, I'm gonna keep it real. The title alone made me laugh. The story made me laugh even harder. And that's like gonna have to be a topic within itself. I'm not even gonna address that story here. But long story short, I will quickly summarize it, but I'm not gonna go deeply into my details and thoughts on the whole thing. It's too much. During the video, this guy admits that he's broke, okay? And he talks about how he gave his friend a chance because according to him, okay, we don't have her side of the story. He claims that she wanted to date him, and I believe him, and that apparently he turned her down for whatever reason, and, she just asked if she could just, come over to his place. And so long story short, later on that day, she started cleaning his place. So he claims he gave her $50 for cleaning his place because I guess it was dirty, so she offered to clean it. Well, after she left, it's not funny. Fuck it, I'm about to say the whole story. After the girl left, they're both black, FYI. After the girl left, I don't know if he got a notification or what happened. I'm sorry, y'all. The story is funny, okay? He got a notification from his bank or something. Something let him know that he was missing $400 out of his bank account suddenly. And so long story short, he knew that it had to be her. And he's pissed off. He's like, I just paid you $50 to clean in my room. You're supposed to be my friend. And you was trying to date me just 2 seconds ago, and now you gonna rob me? I'm literally crying, thinking about the story. So long story short, he called his bank, told me he had to file a police report. And when he went to go do that, he didn't want to do it because he didn't want, this woman who's already a single mother, for her to go to jail and, not be able to be there because nobody will be able to take care of her son. This girl lied, claimed she ain't do it, then she went back and claimed it was a mistake, and then claimed that while she was cleaning his room that she had lost her card, that she had dropped it, and that she miraculously picked up his credit card. And then he was like, your car, your purse is in my car. There's no way that happened. And she's like, oh, my credit card was in my bra and it fell out. And it's like, so you didn't look at the name on the card? And I'm pretty sure their cards are not the exact same color or anything like that. And so, long story short, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he told the story to make you laugh. So it was funny. But then it wasn't funny at the same time. And I'll give him props. He did the right thing. That was a hard thing to do. And I'll be honest, the girls in the comment section, they were being real with him. They weren't being biased because they were women, and they were black women, FYI, for the guys that are gonna get their feelings hurt. They were black women, and they told him the truth. The truth by the world standards. They were suggesting that he should, press charges. And no, I believe he did the right thing by not doing that. God will bless him. God sees what he did. He did the right thing. He wasn't thinking about his feelings towards her. He saw that there was the bigger picture. By you getting her arrested, by you getting her in trouble, or whatever would have happened in this situation, you're going to end up taking away someone's mother. Is it worth it to harm an innocent little boy? Especially when you probably know that little boy, because he said that he was friends with, the mother. She wasn't just some random fling from Tinder or something. He knows her. They I guess grew up together or something like that. So shout out to him. That's hard to do. I can't imagine how angry he must have been and how easy it would have been just being what, F this, I don't want to date you. You didn't just rob me. I mean, you took $50 from me for fake cleaning my room, and in addition to that, you just stole $400 from me. And I like that he was real. He was like, look, I'm broke. I only got $1,000 in my bank account, and she done took 40% of it. So was it $1,000? Or yeah, I think he said he had $1,000 in his bank account. So anyway, long story short, the thing that got me wasn't that video. It was the comment underneath the video. It was a black guy that had commented that had nothing to do with this topic, but he was trying to chime in about his own story. And so somebody else was like, you were married to this person and you weren't dating them. Like how this guy's saying he won't date a single mother. This black man claims, again, we don't know if he's telling the truth, but he claimed that he divorced his wife because he gave her money to pay the rent, and apparently she used the money to pay her car note, and that they ended up getting an eviction notice, and after he saw that he divorced her. So you literally made your wife a single mother, ruined your children's life over a stupid bill. Not to mention, how are you proudly saying that? You should be ashamed of yourself that your wife, as a man, you're a man, right? Y'all want to be leaders, right? So saying this on my last video, they want to be leaders so bad. They want to be labeled as leaders, but they don't want to act like one. First of all, why is your wife having to choose between having the rent paid or her car note paid? Second of all, Eviction notice, shoot, I would know. I've been evicted, FYI. I'm just keeping it real with you. Eviction notices do not come from you missing 1 month's rent. That means this has likely been a problem of you not having the money to pay the bills. Now, I don't know whether she works or not, or how many jobs the two of you have between the two of you, but they have children. And while this might sound crazy, you have to also rationalize it from that person's perspective. Assuming that she has a job, if you don't have a car, how do you get to work? So while it might sound crazy to people on the outside, if you gotta choose between having a house and a car is like a 2-in-1. You can sleep in your car, you can get to work in your car, you can drive away for fun and blow off steam, go on a road trip. You can't do that with a house. Having a house will not get you to work. A house is nothing more than a place to play, fuck, sleep, and shit, and shower. That's it. Your car, sure, you can't do all of those fun. You can fuck and play. But anyway, that sounds good. You can fuck and play. Get it? Fucking. Well, let me stop. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I get the anger behind it. The embarrassment. I totally get it. But the other thing that I don't understand, in most circumstances, you're going to get a warning before an actual eviction notice. So either you are just completely out of the loop, you don't keep any track of the bills, you don't keep any track of phone calls, mail, you're never at home, nobody ever came to your door. I just find that really hard to believe. And of course, we don't know the whole story. For all we know, she might have divorced him for cheating. But I'm just going to take his word and assume that what he's saying is true. Why are you bragging about that? You feel good about yourself that you divorced your wife over something really stupid and simple that you all could have gone to counseling over? That you all could have talked out? I can understand the anger towards her, but at the same time, did you ever think about the rationale behind it? Because if I were in that situation, yes, the nature in me, using my brain, I'm going to want to have my house, of course. But at the same time, especially since we're talking about renting a place and not even owning it, my car is going to be more important. Because how do I get my kids to and from school? What do I do if my child gets sick and needs to go to the hospital suddenly? And I don't want to have a $5,000 ambulance bill. How do I make it to work so I can take care of the kids? And apparently you do, because you apparently don't have enough money to pay both bills. How are you as a man okay with the fact that your wife doesn't even have money to pay the damn car note? I don't know what type of car they have. I'm assuming it's nothing super luxurious, but even if it is, if you're husband and wife, shouldn't you all be talking about finances? Shouldn't you have a car that both of you can afford to actually pay? Because that sounds like it's a you problem, a lack of leadership. I should also add the bigger problem here, and this is going to get on women too, of any race, because I see this a lot recently, like especially with Gen Z and millennials in particular. If you're married, as crazy as this sounds, your finances should be combined. It should no longer be my debt, his debt, my bills, his bills. We can acknowledge who is the reason behind the debt. That's fine. But if we're separating it to the point where it's like, oh, that's not my problem, that's your debt. Why have a spouse then? You're partners. You're a team. When you're doing a presentation as a team, do you say, well, that's not my problem. She didn't finish that part of the project. That's the reason why the presentation's fucked up. That was her part. Do you say that? No. You take ownership of any mistakes, just as you take ownership of any of the accomplishments that are made. If that's the case, then I guess I'm a jobless hobo based off of that, because I don't work. I'm a housewife. That's stupid. What is the purpose in being married if you're not going to work together as a team? And I know that especially in the black community, there's so much fear-mongering because black men believe that for some reason, even although they make mediocre salaries of $40,000 a year, they're afraid that black women are gold diggers and they're going to run away and milk you for $10 million per month in child support. Then meanwhile, black women think that by having a secret stashed away hidden bank account, you're going to be protected in the event that you get a divorce. So now everybody's afraid to combine finances. And it's like, did it ever cross your mind that maybe instead of worrying about all of these extreme scenarios, you just choose better? Both of you? Both of you? Both black men and black women? Life happens. Anybody can get a divorce. I can get a divorce. I'm not saying that. But let's also keep it real. Just as there's a chance that you can get a divorce, there's also a chance that, I don't know, you can save your marriage. You can talk. You can communicate. You can agree on finances and parenting and sex and, important shit like adults. Instead of waiting until after you get married, having this stupid, narcissistic, toxic ideology where it's like, my partner has to read my mind, do everything perfectly, and if they're not exactly how I want them to be, get a divorce because they don't deserve me. And it's not just men like this. Women are doing this too. I don't understand this. It's stupid. Communicate. Talk. And sorry, FYI, just to let you know, in the event that you do get a divorce, any of your hidden accounts, that gets split in half too. It doesn't matter if you didn't have their name on it. You got it while you were married. You contributed to that account while you were married. It's not going to save you very much. And the reality is, if you're married to someone where you even have to think about this, maybe that's a sign that you don't truly trust your partner. That's the equivalent. Let me give you another example. That would be like me saying, I need to have a firearm because I don't trust my husband. What if one day he wakes up and he gets really angry at me and decides to take my life? So just to be safe, just for protection, I want to have this to protect me from him. If I feel like there's even a remote chance that my husband could take my life out of anger, I should be getting a divorce. Better yet, maybe I shouldn't ever marry him. Just a thought. So if that sounds crazy to you, then maybe having separate accounts sounds stupid too. Because if you can't trust your partner enough to share a bank account, you shouldn't be married to them. And people love using these scenarios like, oh, my friend, or I saw this happen to this woman and my mother. Would you have married the same partner that your friend or your mother did? There was probably red flags from 10 miles away. And I'll also add this too. People never tell the whole story. I won't say everyone, but a lot of people. They tell the part that makes them look good and makes the partner look bad. And this is not always the case. Sometimes you truly did just end up marrying a monster and had nothing to do with anything that you did on your end. But the reality is, even the craziest, most narcissistic, messed up, sociopath type people, they normally do have signs. Obvious ones. We just choose to ignore them. When I look back at all of the crazy ex-boyfriends that I had, going back to the beginning, they all had signs. And as I got older, I started to recognize, nope, red flag, I'm out of here. I literally had the opportunity to get married a year before I finally met my husband. And the guy that I referred to as Jimbe. Heard him gossiping about me on the phone. And I was like, nope, that's it. Had other little problems, but that was like my red flag right there. We're not even married yet. I already have a laundry list of things about you that I don't like. And that's just like my final straw. Nope. If you're going to be childish and petty and think that you could talk shit about me in another language, thinking that I couldn't understand Japanese when I did understand what you're saying on the phone, what is it going to be like to be married to you? We have no privacy. And he was shocked. He was shocked. Why'd you get up? Why'd you leave? I literally just taken a shower. I just laid down in bed. This nigga got on the phone and is bitching to his friend about me. Right in front of me. I was hurt. I got up so fast, put my hair together, put on a little bit of makeup, packed my bags. His little scary ass, he went inside the refrigerator, pulled out my favorite green tea. Green tea. Do you want some tea? You're thirsty? Oh. Nope. I can already see the problems a mile away. Nope. If we were married, would I have worked on things? Yeah, sure. But we weren't, thank God. Nope. Red flag. And so again, the problem that I see is it's not marriage, it's who you're married to. If there's no discernment on your end, then fine, yeah, I guess you should be afraid to, share a bank account. Because a lot of you all, you just marry anybody. In fact, if you look at your mother, you look at your sister, your friend, that girl whose TikTok video that you might have watched, or that guy that you saw talking about how they married a monster that changed, and everyone's narcissistic suddenly, even although it's less than 2% or 3% of the population, whatever actually is, and conveniently everybody believes they're dating somebody in that 3%, which makes no effing sense. It makes me think maybe you're the narcissist. But anyway, long story short, let's get off of that part of it, not just marrying a shitty partner. Sometimes people got a divorce because they were the shitty partner. I cannot tell you how many times I've listened to stories about girls telling me why they got a divorce. Or like, just talking together as a group, like not asking me for advice, just explaining and trying to give me advice, right? Or, or giving somebody else advice in the group. And even when I've watched other women's videos, you can even read women's comments about the problems in their marriage. How can I be in the mood to have sex when I always have to do all the laundry by myself? So you're not fucking your husband, but for some reason you want him to do the laundry, even although you're a housewife, but you're fed up with always having to do the laundry because his socks stink. And now you're surprised that your husband is not only cheating on you, but he served you with divorce papers and he's moving on to a younger, prettier version of you. Oh yes, but of course, it's your husband's fault. Yes, he provided a wonderful lifestyle for you, did everything you could have ever asked for, but he couldn't do the laundry. And therefore, he did not deserve pussy. And now you're surprised. You did nothing wrong. He's a narcissist. And so many stupid bitches listen to hoes like this and go away from this and decide, I can't combine my finances. Meanwhile, we have stupid ass men who don't have money or have very little money, and they're paranoid of the idea of having to give you half of their money, which is also very stupid too. If you're worried about that, two things. One, don't date women that are just after you for your money, aka gold diggers. And two, recognize that yes, while you might say, well, it's not fair for her to have not had a career, not have this job. Sir, your wife holding down the fort, taking care of your children, taking care of the house, taking care of you, cooking, cleaning, fucking you was work. How would it be fair for her to go from having everything taken care of for her, which also helped you, because by you taking care of everything for her financially, giving her a house, a car, everything else, paying for her daily needs, she kept your house clean. She kept your children fed. She's the one that made the meals. She's making your lunch. She's making your dinner. She's cooking breakfast. She's cleaning the house. She's sucking your dick. You know how much money you be paying an escort to do all that shit? An escort and a maid? Okay, one more thing. Let me also add this. A lot of men don't seem to understand, this will be another video in the future, but that you choosing or being asked to be a housewife is, I hate to say this, but we'll just say career suicide. You're essentially choosing to put your career on hold. People have this idea that everyone that's a housewife is some sort of, bird brain, bubblehead, beauty pageant, never planned to have a career, not educated woman, when the reality is most women actually do have a degree that are in a housewife position. I won't say most, but definitely a lot of them do, if not most. So you're not dealing with some dummy, so to speak. Most of these women did go to college, did graduate, have degrees, and good ones at that. So really, she's putting her career on hold to provide a lifestyle for you and your children. And smart men also already know this. I hate to say this, but I gotta keep it real. Black men tend to struggle to understand this. Non-black men ultimately, for the most part, get this. But it's something to brag about. The fact that you're able to allow your wife to stay at home and be with the children. Having a housewife is like showing off that you have a Rolex or a BMW or a Mercedes Benz or a Porsche or something. It's something to brag about. So actually, you staying at home completely only serves the man for the most part. Most men don't understand the work and struggle of being in the home, what it's like doing housework, etc. So this isn't to contradict what I said, because yes, I do think that there is some misunderstanding where a lot of women don't understand that, well, if you're a housewife, that's your job. Just like your husband's job is to provide financially for the family. You shouldn't be expecting your husband to do work with you at home. If he chooses to help, that's great. But that's not fair. Your husband's got to be working 8 to 12 hours at work, and now he comes home, and because you're, quote, too tired, now he has to do the laundry and he has to cook. Granted, he can be nice and choose to do these things for you, and I think as a good husband, you should help around the house every once in a while where you see fit. But the expectation that you regularly have to do so, I feel is unfair. Does your husband regularly ask you to work in place of him? Or regularly ask you to do some sort of part-time work to bring in some extra money? More than likely, no. So I don't see that as being fair. But that's a whole nother topic right there. I just wanted to say that a lot of men don't seem to understand that, you choosing or being asked to be a housewife, you being a housewife, you being, stay-at-home mom, you're giving up your career, your dreams, education-wise. Maybe you wanted to pursue a master's or a PhD. Maybe you wanted to be a doctor, I don't know, astronaut, a lawyer, something else, something that might have taken a lot of time to go to school to be and or to do. And I feel like that's not ever taken into consideration. The mindset is just you're a leech, you're using him. And then don't even get me started on this part of it too. Again, another video. But it wouldn't make any sense for you to go from living a lifestyle where you have $500,000 a year to pay your bills and buy your makeup and buy your clothes and put the kids in private school. And then when you get a divorce, you're supposed to go from that lifestyle to having nothing or very little. That wouldn't make any sense. And I see this dumb argument all the time where people are like, oh, like nobody needs $40,000 a month in spousal support or $5,000 a month. And it's like, yeah, actually, if anything, she might need more than that. That would only be fair. And it's not just a matter of the child, it's her too. You gave up years of your life. You gave up years of what could have been your career, your promotions, your 401k, etc. Why would you not be deserving of that? That's a whole nother topic. I'm not going to get into that for this video, but I just wanted to explain that here. So anyway, back to the video. How would it be fair for her to walk away with nothing after that? Not to mention your children. We get it that they don't need $10,000 a month or $10 million like how they act like it's going to be a month in order to live. But if you come from a family that has, for example, myself, if my husband were to divorce me, would it be fair for my baby to now suddenly have to start struggling and using generic diapers and, can't do certain things, can't go to private school anymore? Why would that be fair? My child had nothing to do with that. And let's also keep it real, because men love to say, oh, women don't file for divorce. Why do they file for divorce? Why? Of course, you ain't finna file. You're the cheater. You're the one cheating. Of course you ain't finna file. You want to have your cake and eat it too. That's why you ain't telling nobody you cheating. Men literally call... Y'all, come on. And for the men trying to pretend that's not the case, look on the news. Why do you think women are afraid to go outside late at night? Why can't we jog in the woods? Even although there's a fucking nature trail for us. Literally just watching the news today. Or was it yesterday? Girl that was a nursing student. Broad effing daylight at a college campus. Come on. Why is it dangerous? Because of men. Just saying. And I say all of that because what often happens in relationships? Physical abuse. Domestic violence. Who are the ones that are normally the ones abusing? This is not to say that women can't do it, because they can. And they do. But who are normally the aggressive ones in the relationship? It's the man. So, by that logic, that men are more likely to cheat, and let's keep it real, because people always say, oh, statistics say that women cheat more. Women are more honest about it. We are. If men told the truth, it would be more. That's like asking a liar, how often do you lie? Or asking a pathological liar, did you lie just now or today? Why would they be honest about that? Think to yourself. If you're a man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You might be a perfect man that's never cheated, but your friends do. There are many men who don't believe that it's cheating if they pay for, prostitute, escort, whatever. If it's just a one-night stand, oh, it's not cheating because I didn't want to marry her. Some women move like that too. We have to have a clear definition of what cheating is. Cheating is anything that you're doing with somebody that you would not feel comfortable doing in front of your partner, that you know would also make them feel uncomfortable. Cheating is not always physically having intimate relationships and going inside of people. It is giving people oral. It is hugging, kissing, holding hands. It is flirting through text message and phone calls. It is secret conversations, secret relations, secret dates. All of that stuff is cheating. And most men will not include that. In fact, there's a lot of men, they won't even admit that they cheated until a baby gets involved. Which is crazy. But we ain't finna talk about that part of it. And men go, oh, that's not cheating. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, long story short. Why would somebody want to stay in a relationship with somebody like that? Now, this is not to say that women don't contribute to their divorces, but I say all of this because people act like there's like this huge fear of sharing, combining money, because what if he cheats on you? What if he leaves you? He gonna get access to your money anyway. And then on top of that, it's like, instead of being worried about somebody leaving you, choose a partner that is unlikely to do that. Of course, you can't foolproof everything, but at the end of the day, that's kind of just how it works. By that logic, you shouldn't have a job because your boss can fire you at any time. And there are people that run around with 2-3 jobs, but let's keep it real. Being honest with you, people that make the most money don't normally work multiple jobs, contrary to what you hear. That hustle lifestyle and whatnot, how many people with white collar jobs are working 2 and 3 jobs? People do it. For example, we got YouTubers now that are, YouTubers, doctors, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about a normal, stable job. There are not many doctors that are working part-time as lawyers, part-time as teachers, part-time movie producers. This is not things that they do. There's always going to be someone. But you get what I'm trying to say. By that logic, should they not do their field of work? Because what if they get fired? And they can get fired. It does happen. Shoot, during the pandemic, a lot of people were actually getting laid off. Because there was no need for certain things because everybody was afraid to actually go to the hospital because nobody wanted to get diagnosed. People were being switched to different departments. Some people got fed up with dealing with the patients. Some people were afraid of getting sick. Didn't see it as worth to do their job anymore. The list goes on. So that's not the purpose in this. I'm talking about the combining finances. Whether you want to hear about that or not, I'm saying this because that was my first red flag for this. If you all are married, she shouldn't even have to be... Like, for example, for me, I literally have my husband's credit cards. And the cards that I don't physically have, they're in my phone. They're in my, Apple Wallet, whatever. I can literally just go to the store, scan my shit, buy what I want to. We talk and communicate. And so I do make sure if I'm going to buy something expensive, I run it over with my husband first and make sure he's okay with it. And I make sure that we're in agreement. And you should do that too. But when it comes to bills, why am I having to decide, do I keep my car or do we keep the place that we're living in? Better yet, as a man, why are you okay with your wife even having to work and be in a position where even with her working, because she wasn't a housewife to my understanding, she's still having to decide, do I keep the car or do I keep the house? While she has kids. Why aren't you trying to make more money? In fact, forget about trying to make more. Why don't you have more? Let me not ask that to a black man because y'all can give me every excuse under the sun. So, it just blew my mind. It's like, why do you think this is something brag worthy? Like, you're telling us that you're a shitty husband and you're a crap father. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, black men will use any excuse under... And it's funny because they blame us for it. But no, it's you. They will use any excuse under the sun to not be a father. Any excuse. They put in zero effort. And that's a prime example. You literally decided to walk away from your children because you felt that your wife mismanaged your money. And then other little, clowns in the comment section talking about how she just married you so you could, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at this too, but it was ignorant and I don't believe that. They were saying that she just married him so that he could pay her car note or whatever, and that she's scheming or whatnot. And I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, I'll give black people this. Black people can make you laugh about anything. Like, you'll watch a video that'll be super serious, like this was kind of serious, and you go to the comment section and people just clowning, saying all type of stuff. This is a prime example of that. There was so many funny and ignorant comments inside that comment section. So again, I laughed at it. I could take a joke, but at the same time, it was like, no, I think some of these people being serious. They really do feel. Now, in that case, that woman in that video was wrong. She stole. And really, he did her a favor. In fact, if I were him, if he really wanted to help her, I would tell her, I'm sparing you. Because I don't know whether he was raised by just his mother or not. I'm assuming because he's black. And look, I'm black. Most black people, 70% are. So assuming based off of statistics, he might have spared her because he can relate. And I would have told her. I would have been like, you know what? I was raised by a single mother. And I would never want to make someone that's already a single mother in an even worse position to be behind bars, to be in court, and have no one to take care of their child. Which makes me wonder, where was her son? I guess he might have been in school. I have no idea. But I would let her know. I cared enough about you to not put you through that. But if you do this to the next person, they're not going to have the same mercy on you that I had for you. And instead of them just trying to press charges against you, you might find yourself dead because you end up messing with the wrong. Ladies, listen. A lot of girls like joking about scamming dudes and taking money. You got to be careful, especially if you're in the U.S. Like, that ain't no damn Japan. Look, in Japan, you can scam Totoro or whatever the fuck you want to. But, hey, I ain't encouraging you to do it. I'm just saying it is easier to get away with it here if you wanted to. But I will say this. Don't mess with the wrong person. Because while you might think it's a funky $400, that could be a last straw for someone else. And a lot of guys, they're tired of being taken advantage of just like how you are. And so the moment that you do that and you choose the wrong person, cost of your life ain't finna be worth it. So, just be really careful. Don't get carried away, taking advantage of people. Because see, a lot of people think, oh, this dude's rich or he's a nerd. He ain't gonna notice. He ain't gonna care. Right? You gonna fuck with the wrong person. Somebody gonna fuck you up. You might keep your life and end up being disabled or some shit. In a worse position that you were in than where you were before. For her situation, her biggest problem was her $400 light bill or whatever. And now you finna have a $600 hospital bill and a $400 light bill. And possibly have no life if they do end it. And if you're worried about keeping the lights on for your son, now you're not going to be here to be somebody to take care of your son. Now he's in the foster care system. Please do not make stupid choices like this. If you desperately need money, stop fucking with these broke niggas. Look, I'm not going to encourage you to do illegal acts, but I'm going to just keep it real. There are a lot of men that are simps that exist out there. You ain't got to do nothing for them. You can easily find someone that will gladly pay your bills for you. I am not encouraging you to use men. But look, if you're going to do something bogus, it's better to get it the right way by finding somebody that's truly generous and being upfront and just going on a date with them. No strings attached. To get what you need than to steal from someone directly. Now, I'm not talking about misleading people, making them think you're going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm just saying. I should also add, let me give you a legit way to do things. If you're finding that you're, on hard times, go to church. Really go to church. Don't just come one day. Nobody wants to help somebody that's clearly scamming, and somebody that just randomly shows up one side of the blue. Looks like a scam to most people. Hang out at church. Join groups. Make friends. Talk to people. There are a lot of nice people that would love to bless you and help you. Make more friends. That's what you should be doing. You do not want to steal from a man. I don't care how well you think you know them. That you knew him as a friend, okay? You probably don't know him when it comes to his money. You probably don't know him when it comes to dating. A lot of men care a lot about their money. And that's a lot of money when you have no money. Somebody taking half of your bank account as a working man, and that's a pride issue too. You embarrassed him. That was very stupid of her. But like I said, that wasn't the topic of this video. I'm just acknowledging that part too, because I brushed over that because it's not what I wanted to talk about for this. But I am acknowledging that was an issue. And if I were that man or his mother, consider that his mother even warned him, and he admitted that his mom was right to not mess around with that girl, and that's why he didn't date her. But he was stupid to let her go to his house, and let's keep it real. He let her go to his house because, look, they were probably fucking with each other for all I know. He didn't want to date her, but he didn't mind fucking her, because why she hanging out at your house to Netflix and chill? Right. So look, I'm going to gloss over that part. I don't care. But I'm just saying, keeping it real. Sounds like you were kind of using her too, because you knew you didn't want to commit to her. But you ain't got no problem. Yeah, sure, you can slide on over to my house and clean my room. And also, ladies, if you fucking with a nigga whose room you gotta clean, y'all not even in a relationship. Do you want a man like that? I've dated some dirty ass niggas, and guess what? Every time I went to a man house whose house was fucked up, we ain't never even get into a relationship. It became nothing serious. I got some crazy stories. Check out Patreon if you want to hear about that stuff. But anyway, yeah, it just blows my mind. It's like, how do you not realize that this was not like a flex or a funny story? It's like, that's sad. If he's telling the truth, that is. You divorce your wife And he didn't say this part, but let's just keep it real. You left your kid, or kids, however many you have, because your wife, from your perspective, what does that mean? From your perspective, was careless with finances because she didn't pay the rent. When really it's both of you guys. And in this case, you're the man, you're the husband, you're the leader. So why aren't you making enough money? And if her car is too expensive, okay, why didn't this get talked about before? Like, hey, look, I don't make enough money. I can't pay both the rent and for this car. So how about we sell this car? We get a cheaper car so that this way we have the ability to get back and forth to work. You can pick up the kids, do whatever you got to do, but it's actually manageable. Why weren't you man enough to talk about this earlier? Why did it take you getting evicted to finally decide, you know what, F it? Because to me it sounds like you already had a little side piece and you already wanted to leave her. And that this is just an excuse to kick her out the door. And you broke up your family. And before black people come for me, let's stop playing stupid. I said this in my last video. Marriage does matter. Being a boyfriend, being an uncle, being a cousin, being a granddaddy, it's not the same thing. Marriage, not boyfriends, not situationships. We need actual fathers, married men in our households. And we're seeing, statistically, we've seen it for decades, and we've decided to make no change. We have no leaders in our community. And the leaders want to blame the women, which is very interesting, because no other race of men do that. Black people are not the only ones that are fucking without protection, forgetting to take their pills. Oh no, there's a hole in the condom. Right. Birth control and condoms are literally almost 100% effective when used correctly. You're not using them. And you're purposely not using them correctly. And forget about using it correctly. It should be understood. You don't fuck people that you don't want to make babies with. Problem solved. But people do it anyway. But who are the people that are not getting married? Black people. We've convinced ourselves that marriage doesn't matter, and we've told ourselves, oh, well, you're going to get a divorce anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. It does make a difference, and statistics have proven that they make a difference. Why are we ignoring that? You can literally look at your Asian and white counterparts. Look at how different their life is. Married, parents together, before baby, versus never married, single mom, boyfriend in the house type of situation. It is not the same. There's going to be some hillbilly in my comments like, that's not true. I was raised by just my daddy and I just, oh, 2 claps for you. I didn't know that because your life turned out just fine. The statistics no longer matter. Guess what? By that standard, I shouldn't be married either. Sure, my parents are married, but my father fucked my life up. By that standard, he wasn't a leader. He wasn't a man. My mama fucked my life up too. I learned on my own what I had to do to get married. I defied that statistic. Most black women never get married, I should also add. But I am the exception and not the rule. So therefore, you are the same thing. The reality is it does make a difference. Not just having a boyfriend, but having a husband. And if you're like, oh, we can get divorced anyway, discernment. Very simple word, discernment. Easiest thing for men that act like, they have, I don't know, mad dick disorder or mad dick disease or whatever. Keep your penis in your pants and be selective. Discernment. Believe it or not, men, every girl that has a BBL does not need to have your wiener inside of her. Every girl that looks cute on Instagram does not need to be dick down. You can actually control your penis, believe it or not. I know, crazy, right? Ladies, same thing goes for you. Community dick is overrated. A man having a large penis has no correlation to him being a good father or being a good husband. Also, let's not be stupid. A man saying, oh, I want to get married, I want to marry you, while he's fucking you, is as useless as Monopoly money. Don't go based off of what he's telling you, what he's showing you. If he loves you, he wants to be your husband, he will marry you before you get a penis inside of you that's squirting in you and babies are being made. Stop being stupid. Problem solved. Ladies that are afraid to get married because, oh my God, divorce, my parents got divorced. I'm sorry to break it to you, but for most of you, the people that are scaring you out of marriage, they're idiots, they're bad wives, they're bad mothers, and they are the problem, not the man. Even your mother, sorry. I'm gonna keep it real. When I look at my own parents' marriage, it scared the shit out of me. Like, I don't want to be married to somebody like that. You know what I did? Instead of deciding I'm afraid of marriage, I decided I don't ever want to marry a man that is a bum-ass nigga like my daddy. I don't ever want to be a stupid-ass bitch. Sorry. Like my mama. Love my mama, but I gotta keep it real. I can see the flags from 50 miles away. Both of her marriages are bad choices. Now, she's not the man in the relationship. So in both situations, both of her husbands, her first husband and her second husband, which is how I got here, I'm from her second marriage, they are responsible because they are the lead. If you didn't see my last video, I'm going to do a quick recap here. Adam and Eve style. Said this before. Y'all gonna get tired of the story, but I'm gonna keep saying it. Just learned this. I didn't know this before. There is a reason why God did not get mad at Eve, even although she sinned first. She did not only eat the apple, she knew what she did was wrong, and she went and told her husband to participate too. Who did God get on? Who did he punish the most? Who did he blame for Eve's sin? Adam. He didn't even go to Satan, which was the serpent. He went directly to Adam. And you know what Adam did? If you watch my other video, you already know about now. Adam immediately blamed Eve. And after he blamed Eve, he had the audacity to blame God for giving him Eve. And many people don't know that part. All they know is Eve took the apple, Adam ate, they both sinned, they both got in trouble. No. It's more to it. Look at that story closely. If you actually read your Bible instead of letting other people tell you what the Bible says, including myself, read it for yourself. Look up the scriptures, open up a physical Bible, use your highlighter, read the stories, learn them for yourself, instead of believing what other people ain't even Christians, misinterpreting the Bible and shit. Read it for yourself. There are literally scriptures that even explain to you in the Bible that men are the lead and the head of the house, and that you will be judged harsher than your wife. Men will not be judged on Judgment Day the same way that women are, because God put men here to lead us. So while you're blaming your woman, your baby mama, you're going to be the one that's going to get the brunt end of everything. The burnt end of the stick. You're the one that's going to be fucked up in the end. Did she make poor decisions? Yes. Was Eve also punished? Yes, she was. But Adam got the worst punishment. Adam was the one that was held responsible for Eve doing what she did, because he was supposed to be the leader. That's the way that life works. Think about it. As a parent, you are the parent. What happens when we have these school shooters? Who does everybody immediately get mad at? Who do we blame? The parents. Why? It's not their fault. But it is. They are literally the leaders. Now, I'll be honest with you. Share another little scripture with you that people don't know about. The Bible actually tells you that parents should not be held responsible for the sins of their children. And that one was a hard pill for me to swallow. Not gonna lie. But at the same time, you are responsible for raising your children. You are responsible for teaching them right or wrong. And we're not going to talk about an extreme situation like shooting per se, but you are responsible for smaller things. For example, if your child steals something. Now, you can't fully control that, but you can teach your child not to do this. You can watch your child to make sure it doesn't happen. And if they do try to steal something because you are being a parent and watching them, you can stop it from taking place. That's called parenting. Nowadays, people don't know what that means anymore. So, let me also add that these two things kind of coincide with each other. When children are disciplined, their desire to do bad and or wrong diminishes, because you think about what the consequence is going to be for such bad behavior. And for most intelligent individuals, this also carries on to adulthood. For example, there are things that I won't say, won't do, whatever, because of how I was raised. I know I shouldn't say this. I know I shouldn't do that. I know I shouldn't dress this way for this event. I know that I should think about how am I going to make my country, my state, my city, my race, my gender look. I can think about these things because I was raised to do so. I have enough sense to know I don't want to do this because these are the potential consequences. This is how I might make myself look, my people look, etc. This is how discipline forms and molds you as an adult. And this is the reason why it also goes back into, biblically, where the Bible tells you that, parents should not be held responsible, or, for the behavior of their children. What they're really referring to is not literal children, because in that sense, yeah, sure, but rather it will be unfair for, let's say, one of the people that did those things to the school, because I'm not trying to get my channel demonetized. One of the people that had, a weapon, brought it into the school, ended people's lives, right? For most of these people, well, at least a lot of them, at least from what I've seen, they're adults. And people want to blame the parents, which, sure, I agree that to a certain extent, a lot of the parents had some knowledge, didn't take enough action to try to prevent this from happening. But at the end of the day, your so-called child is now 18, 19, 20, 30 years old, etc. How can you hold the parents responsible for that at this point? You are your own person. You're an adult. You're grown. Yes, I agree that the environment that they were in encouraged such behavior, but your parents didn't actually make you pull that trigger. They didn't make you get up and go to that place that morning. Likewise, my parents can't control what I choose to do. I make my own decisions. Would they have likely known, had some idea that I was planning to do something? Sure, especially if I'm living with them and I share information with them. But they ultimately don't know everything because I don't share everything with them. And they wouldn't know where I'm planning to go or do because I don't have to tell them that. I get up and I do my own thing every day. So that's a whole nother story. I just wanted to explain that a little bit for people that are like, well, if you shouldn't blame the parents, you should understand. That's not what they're getting at. Don't take things out of context. And again, I challenge you, read these things for yourself within context. Don't find a random scripture and, leech on to that. Because there's literally scriptures in the Bible that makes it seem like it's okay to curse people and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, you're reading about somebody that was actually angry. They're not telling you this is the biblical way to handle it. And I'm not going to go into detail about all of that. That's frustrating me. People take stuff out of context and people cherry picking what they do and do not want to follow. And also a misunderstanding of things that you're supposed to follow and things that are old ways of how things were done before changes were made. But that's all a whole nother story. And I also find it interesting. Again, I'm going to talk about this in another video about how people cherry pick information that matters. For example, the whole idea of sexual, morality or whatever, or being a virgin and body counts, etc. These things all go back to the Bible. So if you're not a Christian, I just challenge you. Why do you care about somebody being a so-called whore? Why do you care about people's, dating experiences or the amount of partners that they've had or virginity and purity? Why do those things matter to you? Because that's all biblically based. If we're going to speak from a worldly perspective, why do these things matter to you? And this is not the only thing. The golden rule goes into that as well. Where do you think that came from? That comes from out of the Bible. But again, that's a whole other story. Not going to get into that. That's for another day. So back to the video. I need to stop you. Y'all turning me into Joyce Meyer over here. But look, I'm trying to help y'all out. Look, let's face it. Most of y'all about to go to hell. I'm trying to help y'all out, all right? And look, maybe during the rapture, y'all can come back and watch this video and see where you went wrong. But back on subject. All I gotta say is this. Please, 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 please choose better partners, ladies, please. Yes, it is the man's fault for not being there, parenting the kids, etc. But just as he can choose who he's going to bust a nut in, you can choose who you're going to let F you. Stop letting these men sweet talk you out of your panties. They will tell you anything to F you. They don't care about you. If he loved you and cared about you, he would marry you. He would let you know that he wants to marry you. You wouldn't be waiting 5-10 years for an engagement and then have an engagement that lasts for 3 years too. You wouldn't be begging for basic needs as a wife if he wanted you. I'm not encouraging you to divorce a man if you're already married. I don't believe in divorce. But I will say, you probably did choose a crappy partner. But I believe that everyone can change. I believe in redemption. I did some shitty things as a wife. And you know what I did? I went through counseling. I got therapy. I got a mentor. And not just anyone. You need somebody that is pro-marriage. You need Christian counselors. You need people that know their stuff. People that are married themselves. There's a lot of people that think they're pro-marriage, think they know everything, and it's like, yeah, you don't. And there's a huge difference when dealing with a Christian counselor versus a worldly, regular counselor. And trust me, I tried both. Big difference. And specifically someone that is pro-marriage. You don't want somebody whose solution to everything is, oh, get a divorce. People can easily suggest things like that when it's not their marriage. People will always say, oh yeah, get a divorce. Yeah, I would leave. I would do whatever. Right, of course you would. I see that with my life too. When I tell people my stories, things that I did wrong, things that I effed up with, oh, I would have never let that happen. I would have done X, Y, and Z. Right. It's easy for you to say, but you've been watching my channel and I told you what I did, what I messed up on, what I know when I shared dating advice with you. Yeah, now that I've taught you all of this shit, yes, easy for you to see. But if you were in my actual situation, you would have done the same thing, if not worse. If you never watched my videos where I gave advice on how to avoid these situations, you would have done that too. But now that you've gained knowledge on certain topics, now you can make an informed decision. Now you know what you're doing, or you think you know what you're doing. Because let's face it, we can have all the knowledge in the world and still make poor choices. But the other thing that I talked about inside my last video was, I was telling you guys, a big part of why we choose crappy partners is we don't have leaders. We don't have men teaching us how to find a husband. We don't have men teaching us what we should want in a relationship. And then the really funny thing is too, I saw this like 3 different places. Mostly white people were the ones saying this. FYI, you guys, before you get your feelings hurt, because I know black men are going to try to come for me. Men know the importance of money. Not only because they choose to make money to get the type of woman that they want and to provide for the women that they actually want, keyword, the women that they want, but they don't want their daughters to marry a broke man. If you bring home a man, one of the first questions that your parents ask you, what's his job? What school did he go to? What degree does he have? Does he have kids? Has he been divorced? They ask questions like that. I wonder why they're so concerned about education and finances immediately. Why? Because they want to make sure their daughter is going to be taken care of. It's not just the mom that wants to know this. The father wants to know. Because they understand the importance of gender roles. They understand that a man that cannot provide should not be marrying their daughter. Good fathers care about this. Now, of course, there's more to it than just having money. You can have money and education and be an asshole. We're not talking about that. That's a whole other topic. I'm saying this is a generally understood thing. But what I'm saying is, men these days will treat you like you're crazy for caring about their money. Why should my finances matter? Let's build together. That's not the way marriage is supposed to work. And if you want to understand that better, look at it this way. As a man, you do not look at women and think to yourself, she's really fat, really ugly, but with a little bit of makeup and maybe if, we can get about 200 pounds shaved off of her, she'd be the perfect woman. Do men function that way? No, they do not. What do? They immediately look for a girl that is young, that has whatever body type he prefers, normally thin, or just slightly overweight, or borderline normal weight to being a little overweight. You want a woman that doesn't have kids, preferably never been married. They have set criteria. And it's not just the men. Guess what happens when they bring their girl home? What are the questions that are immediately asked? Do you have children? Why do you love my son? What do you do? They want to see where your mind is. They want to make sure you're not marrying their son to be a gold digger. They want to make sure their son is not going to be taking care of your 12 kids. They want to fill you out. That's the way it's supposed to be. You want to, play unicorn and decide you want to be different and do whatever you want to, have fun. I'm giving y'all real honest game advice, and I'm telling you what I'm going to tell my own kids too. I'm telling you what the fuck I did. When I met my husband's family, that's what they wanted to know about me. They wanted to make sure I'm not marrying into their family because my husband has a good career. They want to make sure I actually love my husband. Jembe that I talked about earlier in this video, he was an F-boy, but I'll be honest with him. His friends are more solid than my husband's friends, just keeping it real. They were sniffing me the fuck out and trying to make sure, because they were, I'm gonna be real, they were thinking to themselves, why the fuck does she want to date our ugly ass friend? Is what they were thinking. They asked me every question under the sun. Yeah, but why do you like him? What about him do you like? What are you attracted? Like, damn. They wanted to make sure I wasn't there for the money. Good friends. Okay, well, my point in this is, if men know that they don't want their daughter to marry a quote-unquote loser, why do you want us to settle for a loser in the dating stage then? Or even the marriage stage? You want us to be willing to marry men that have nothing to offer, cannot provide, but they want to be leads and they want the title. Okay, you want the title of being the head of the house, but you don't want to actually do what the head of the house does, which is provide. Not just provide directions and provide community dick and provide, a saddle or whatever the fuck to ride on top of. We're talking about actually provide financially. And there's all this excuse, oh, things are so expensive. Okay, get a second job. Or better yet, I don't know, maybe go to university and don't study fun shit. Study things that actually pay. Just a thought. Nobody told you to go to school to be an artist or to be a web designer and shit. Nobody told you to do that. Go to school and get a career that actually pays money where you can afford to have a housewife. Where you can afford for your children to go to school. A private school or whatever. You can't afford to go on a trip to Disney. Instead of whining and bitching. Because by that standard, then women should complain, oh, food is so high in calories. And don't get me wrong, shoot, some girls do. We ain't finna talk about that. But most girls get it. That want men that have the type of money they do. Most of them. The ones that don't, won't, and they're not going to get those type of men, so you ain't got to worry about them. But meanwhile, there are women that literally look the part. They have the right body. They have the right face. They have the right attitude. They dress the right way. They're the right age. And men will still act like they're crazy, they're bad, they're gold diggers because they want a man that can provide a decent life for them. I'm not talking about these girls that are, got their head in the clouds and they want a guy buying them Louis Vuitton and Chanel bags and going to 5-star dinners and, hotels and restaurants. I'm not talking about those crazy girls. I'm talking about girls who just want a normal, quote-unquote, rich life, aka upper middle class. Now we have men, specifically black men, trying to teach you that that's unrealistic because times have changed. Well, by that standard, there's a lot of things that I can say times have changed and that's not realistic that people still expect of women. Okay, you adapt and you still perform the same thing. Not that fucking hard. There are more choices of food to eat now than there ever were. And you want to know what? There's also less ways to exercise. Because back in the day, everybody's outside. We don't have social media and phones. If you want to have fun and have entertainment, I can't even imagine. Think about that if you're an adult. Imagine how it was in the 70s and 80s. Even 90s, but especially 70s and 80s. Or 60s. When you are bored, you can't just get on your phone and scroll and watch Netflix and YouTube. And you're no longer a child anymore. You're an adult now. So once you finish college in particular, you can only stare at the TV screen. You're too old to be playing with toys. There's no Game Boys. There's no PlayStations or, whatever type crap. Nintendo, whatever. I know in the mid-80s, but you get what I'm trying to say. There's no entertainment at home. You literally have to go outside. You have to walk somewhere. You have to ride your bike. We have limited opportunities and reasons to even leave our house. It takes a lot more effort, dedication, motivation to actually work on your weight. Things are higher in calories. We have bigger portions. We have more fast food restaurants. The list just goes on. There's temptation everywhere. But is that an excuse? No. Is it understandable? Yes. But you want to know what? Men have not decided. Well, we don't care about women's beauty. You can be as fat and ugly whatever you want to. Now, some men don't mind. There are men that actually have fetishes and like big bitches. There are men that like certain things, and we're not going to talk about them. We're talking about the average standard beauty standard. The expectation is that as a woman, that you do have a proportionate body, and that you preferably are thin, or close to being slim. An average body, at least. And when I say average, I don't mean average as in the obese average, but I mean BMI average, that is within a normal range, that is appropriate for your height. Because another thing that I will say, a lot of guys get wrong, in particular Kevin Samuels, you cannot use the size 4 to 6 as a general rule for women, because if you're a short woman, a size 4 and or a size 6 can actually be obese for you, depending on how short you are. Same thing goes weight-wise. You cannot use a solid number for how much a woman should weigh, because if you're 5 feet tall, weighing 130 pounds is, obese, or at least it's overweight. You shouldn't be 130 pounds and 5 feet tall. So, Anyway, that's another story. Not gonna get into that. But I won't necessarily say, oh, I think it is obese. I don't know. I have to search that. You get what I'm trying to say. It's overweight, at least. It's definitely overweight. Okay, I did the research for you. So we're not gonna go over every single last height, but just to put this into perspective for you, if you are the shortest woman that you'll typically ever encounter, is going to be 4'10", 4'11". So at 4 foot 10 inches tall, or aka 147 centimeters, the most you should weigh is 119 pounds. You're overweight at 120, and you're considered obese at 144 pounds. If you're the average height of an American woman, let's use 5'3", so 160 centimeters, that means that you should not exceed 140 pounds. And you're considered as overweight at 141 pounds and obese at 169 pounds plus. If you're 5'4", the previous average height for Americans, American women in particular, you should not exceed 145 pounds. Overweight at 146 pounds, and you're considered as obese at 174 pounds. So, then using the average height for a Japanese woman, which there are plenty of American women, including my mother, who is this height, 5'2", aka 157 centimeters, you should not exceed 136 pounds. You're overweight at 137 pounds, and you are considered as obese at 164 pounds. So I just wanted to explain that. So yeah, height impacts what weight you should be, and different people wear clothing sizes differently. For example, I can speak on myself. I'm as obese numbers wise, but if you were to see me in real life and look at my body, you'd be really shocked if you heard how much I actually weigh, which I'm not going to share with you, but you'd be surprised. You'd be like, really? Like, nope, that's my real weight. So everybody wears their weight differently. This is not to say that because you wear it differently, you're allowed to weigh more. It's still unhealthy. You just appear to be healthier than you really are. There is a clear association, a link between being overweight and having health issues. And even although you might not necessarily have diseases right now, you are setting yourself up to get them later. And you're putting more stress on your heart, on your brain, on your digestive system, on all of your organs. Your body is not made to be that way. I'm one of the people where at least I can admit, even though I'm not where I want to be, where I am is not right. And most people struggle to do this. They try to use themselves as an example. So because you're overweight, being fat is okay. Because you're struggling to lose weight, being overweight is okay. Same thing goes for things like height, money, etc. You're not tall, so women should be okay with short men. You don't have money, so women should be okay with broke men. You're ugly as a woman, so men should be okay with being with an ugly woman. Like, the list goes on. Not going to get into all of that. Just wanted to give you a little bit of detail right here. So, long story short, the average woman, I'm going to just use 5'4" to make it easy for all of us. You should never exceed 145 pounds. If you are a short woman, on average, you shouldn't exceed 127 pounds. So I was right. If you're 130 pounds, you're not quite exactly obese, but you are overweight. So, back to the video. Weight. So your height matters. However, if the girl is like 6 feet tall, then 130 pounds could be underweight, or at least normal weight. So that's a whole nother topic. I'm just explaining because a lot of guys don't get it. It depends on her height. It depends on how her body is built, because people's bodies are built differently. For example, you can wear a size small here in Japan, but because like your rib cage or whatever is bigger than the average Japanese girl, which is your structure, your body structure, your bone structure, whatever, you might actually wear a size small, but it can't go around it. For example, I think of for myself. Now, for me, I normally can't buy pants here, no matter how small. I almost said no matter how small. If I were like actually a size small, I'm pretty sure I could. But I have wide hips. So even if I do wear pants that do fit me, they're only going to fit like around my legs. I can't pull them all the way up over my hips. I have a large chest, so even if I'm wearing a top that does fit me appropriately, I'm top heavy. So even if I wear like, a 2X or whatever, it's still going to be, and I am fat. I am overweight. But I'm just saying, like, even if I wear large clothing, it still typically doesn't fit right, because my body is not the expectation, the standard of the proportions they assume you are if you're wearing this. They're not expecting you to be curvy when you wear this top, because most people don't have large breasts, most people don't have a fat ass, and I happen to be blessed with both. But that's another topic. So anyway, I got way off subject, y'all. All I'm saying is this. Please, please, please marry a partner that is willing to share finances. Marry a partner that wants the same things that you do. And on top of that, you do not want to be in a relationship where you're having to choose between rent and your car payment. I get it if like this is something that happened later on in your marriage, but assuming this is, the beginning of your marriage stages, if his finances are not together where he can actually handle bills, You should not be getting married. There's other things that need to be worked on right now. And that's a big problem in the black community. We don't marry the right people. Specifically women when they do get married. And then I hate this because then when they get a divorce, these women walk away from it feeling like marriage was a waste of time and that nobody needs to get married. And then they lie to these women that are younger than them. And then they have people like me believing that marriage is stupid, it's a waste of time, waste of money, because he's just going to leave you anyway. When really the problem was the woman that actually got married in question, she didn't understand she married a loser. She failed to see those red flags. So are we really going to use her as an example for why we shouldn't get married? Instead, you should be looking at her and thinking, man, she's stupid. I know what not to marry. But for a lot of us, we've decided, okay, well, I still want to have babies, so I'm going to get pregnant, and I'm going to restart the cycle with this child, and I'm going to tell myself that I'm going to be able to miraculously do things better. And then even dumber part is like, why are we doing things in reverse? We've literally watched our friends, our mothers, our sisters, our cousins struggle being a single mother. Why the fuck do you think that you're going to be able to have a baby with a guy that doesn't want to marry you and then miraculously find a wonderful stepfather that's going to step into the picture, take care of your kid? Why are we doing that? I get it, life happens, people make mistakes. But for there to be so many of us doing the exact same thing, we're not even trying at this point. And again, black men will tell you, oh, see, look, it's black women, it's black women. We can't make babies without you. It's your fault. And sorry, God decided, not me. You're the man. He didn't just decide to make you the man. You're the lead. You're in charge. And he literally tells you, you will be judged differently because you are the leader. You are the head of the house. You can't use none of those excuses. You have literally purposely ran around and created broken homes. You are the reason why these women are choosing poorly. Because they don't have you. They're missing fathers. It's a shame, but like I said, back on topic for this video. You can go to my last one and hear me rant about that part more, about the whole missing father, whatever type thing, but my whole thing was just this. That shows the delusion. That this man thought this was a funny, brag-worthy thing to say, like, oh yeah, you know, F them hoes. She tried to use me to pay her car note. Sir, she's your wife. She's your wife. Okay, duke it out in the argument. But divorce her? Make her a single mother? Y'all can rent another apartment. Better yet, you can buy a house. You can live with your parents or someone else. Your wife is less important to you than a house? Because I don't know about you, I'd rather be homeless with my man than get a divorce. Because now you got neither. Divorcing her ain't going to give you your house back. The house already gone. You should thank God that y'all didn't actually buy the house. It didn't get foreclosed or some shit. You got evicted out of a rented apartment. Okay, it sucks. It's embarrassing. I get it why you'd be angry. But damn, you going to leave your wife? And that's like another problem with people these days. It's like, there's so many problems that people have that we're so scared of all these like red flags, so to speak. I'm not trying to contradict myself, but there's so many people that have misled us and made us believe, both men and women of every race, but where we think our partner has to be 100% perfect. And if they do anything wrong, we need to get a divorce. When the solution should be, if our partner is doing something wrong, we need to talk to them first. We need to communicate. We need to go to counseling. We need to go to therapy. We need to pray to God. We need to go to church together. We need to handle this privately. Because another big mistake that couples make, this is for another video, they tell everyone their business, which damages your relationship. If you're having a problem with your husband, your mother, your best friend, and your father don't need to know, as long as it's not a life or death situation. This situation with the rent could have been handled in private. We did not even need to know about it. I get it, they already got a divorce, it's done, so I understand it. But you get what I'm trying to say. People speak too fast. If you're being physically harmed, sure, yes, speak up, do what you gotta do, get out. That's common sense. We're not gonna even discuss that here. We're gonna assume this is a normal, standard relationship. Most relationships do not deal with this. DV does exist, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the average relationship, which does not consist of that, FYI. Believe it or not, contrary to what you see on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, etc., it does not. And with that, in fact, I'll be honest, women do actually don't even realize sometimes they're participating in DV because we've been so used to the idea that you can just hit them in and do whatever. And it's like, that's DV too. But that's another topic. Not going to talk about that. Hey, men, I'm being fair to you. I am acknowledging that women can and do participate in DV. And sometimes they are the initiator. So I'm not denying that. But I'm done, y'all. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm like losing my breath. I gotta drink some water. Please don't marry somebody just because they're willing to marry you. Please think about who you're marrying. Please think about why they're willing to marry you. Because the fact that this woman was married to somebody that would rather be homeless and a divorcee than to be homeless together, work things out, figure out how to get your next place, live together inside of a car, that ain't the type of husband that you want. And vice versa. As a man, if your wife is willing to leave you because you lose the house, you chose a bad wife. The problem is not marriage, it's who you chose. Likewise, like I said, it's a lot of girls that swear to you, marriage is so scary and so bad, and men are this, that, and the other. And then I look at posts where women are literally bitching because their husband has different needs than they do. They're mad because their husband actually wants to have sex with them. Meanwhile, there are other women that are crying online because they would give anything in the world for their husband to actually want them. Some of y'all are busted. Ugly as fuck. Bags under your eyes. You've gained 60 pounds. Your titties deflated. You ain't got no ass. And you should be grateful that your man even want to stick his dang-a-dang anywhere near you. And you're mad that he wants it from you? Because you're stressed out from your long day of cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids 24/7. How do you think he feels? Does he not work? Does he not get stressed out? Does he not deal with traffic and deal with angry bosses and angry customers? You think his life is a walk in the park? You think he doesn't do shit that goes thankless? I made a video about this already. You are letting people who did a horrible job being a partner to their spouse scare you out of the idea of marriage. And you don't even realize it. And the reason why you don't is, if everyone's giving you the same advice, saying the same thing, you think it's true. If everyone is telling you, be afraid of men, don't get married, they're going to run away and leave you with nothing, and you're going to be barefoot and pregnant, that and the other, and it's like, okay, can we acknowledge, fine, getting married, you are risking that. And it can and does happen. I can end up like that. I'm going to keep it real with you. But my feelings towards it won't change. Okay, something went wrong. Either I made a mistake in my marriage by not being a good partner to my husband, or I missed red flags. And when you look back, hindsight is always 20/20. You see things that maybe you didn't see before. Does this now make marriage a bad deal and a bad thing? No. I had an unlucky pick. I made a mistake in my behavior. And now I can learn from that and try again. When you work a job, normally, if you're like most people, the first job that you work is not the last one that you end up with, is it? No. You typically will quit your job several times. And you will work new jobs several times. So you decide, F this, I never want to work again, I'm going to be homeless for the rest of my life, I don't care about this world anymore. No, what do? You take what you learned from those last jobs, good or bad experiences, and you apply them to what you want to look for in the future. You decide, you know what, at first I didn't mind having open availability, but now, nope, I cannot do Fridays. You apply what you learned from those previous jobs. Maybe you make mistakes. You kept coming to work late and you finally got fired. So now you decide, you know what? I still need a job. I still want a job. I still enjoy doing this line of work. But now I know not to play around at work. Now I know I need to get there 10 minutes early, not 10 minutes late. Why can't we do the same thing with marriage? Just a thought. I'm done. My rant is over. Went all over the place this video. Said everything I had to say. I hurt a lot of people's feelings. And like I said, look, I know black men gonna think that I'm just getting on them. But look, I'm keeping it real. I'm a black woman. I see this affecting my black friends, my black subscribers. Because I cannot tell you how many times I've seen black women coming to me crying in the comment section like, oh, look, I don't ever want to get married. Or I'm just fine being a baby mama. And to be honest, I thought about it myself before. Because we literally have black men telling us that marriage is not important. It's a certificate. It's nothing. Here, take this dick. Swallow this cum. You don't need to be married. You don't need a ring. It's a waste of money. Right, but your $700 PlayStation isn't. You have money to buy $200-$300 pairs of shoes each year. But God forbid I ask you for a ring that's the same value. I should just love you for who you are. Right. Men will spend money on things they care about. You got $700 for a car note that you don't need, but you can't spend that same amount to buy your girl a ring. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna warn my daughter about y'all. That's all I gotta say. But anyway, long story short, I'm done with this video. So anyway, if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you have not already. As always, if you have any questions for me, please leave a comment down below. Questions, video topics, etc. that you want me to talk about in the future, leave a comment. Or you can send me an email directly. Please do not DM me, emails only. I will not reply or read any of your DMs. I don't do that. Please check out my YouTube channel's homepage. I have playlists on everything working, studying, dating, and living in Japan. I've probably already talked about a topic that you're thinking of there. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. I have a Snapchat and TikTok at Comic the Savior, a Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior, and a blog at Comic95.com. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you have not already. And of course, I would also appreciate if you would consider supporting me on Patreon for $5 per month. You'll instantly get access to over 150 videos. I have rants, I have journals, I have just about everything that you could think of there, and I'm always adding new content on a regular basis, so please consider supporting me there. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I guess that's all. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you watch another video. Bye.